Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Q Show again. I'm actually out on vacation this week, so this is pre-recorded, but we're not going to let that stop us anyway. Today, we have here in Studio Q, we have Ron Artis. In fact, the pre-show roll, that song is Purpose from, I believe, the album with the same name that you recorded a while back here in Gold Coast Studios.
Yeah, out there with Dan and yeah, man, what a moment.
That was really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what have you been up to? What part of the world haven't you been to in the last month?
We've been to 8 countries in the last 3 months, and prior to that, I don't even remember what we were doing this year. It's been quite a beautifully busy year.
Yeah.
But it's so I have a lot to be grateful for, and that for the folks who don't know, like my family tours with me, my wife and our 5 kids. Plus the band. So we're going to get into more of that later on. But yeah, it's been a journey. We were in El Salvador. We were in Costa Rica. We went to Norway for the first time. Also Iceland. And then we were in the Netherlands for a bit as well. So it was great.
Did you see the Northern Lights?
No, because this time of year, I didn't know, the sun does not go down.
Yeah.
So the sun was up like 1 a.m. when you're like finishing up the gig and you walk outside, you're just trying to relax and wind down, and it looks like 12 noon.
Yep. All day.
Yeah.
Long. Yeah, that's so weird.
So it's crazy because like reading about that as a kid, I used to think like, man, that would be the most amazing thing to see, and I'd be so pumped, like 24 hours of daylight. But then you just realize your body gets so confused.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're not used to it, it can get you, but. Man, I highly recommend anybody who can do it, go see Norway, go see Iceland. It was just stunning.
Yeah, I think the closest I ever got was Amsterdam, and it was the same thing. Like there was a half hour of the sun dipping below the horizon every day.
Oh, yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah, it just goes like, whoop.
Yep.
Yeah.
But a beautiful place.
It's absolutely beautiful, man.
So let me see. You've been here in California. So you're touring constantly.
This year.
At least it seems like you haven't stopped. I think the last time I was probably at NAMM when I saw you last.
Yeah, I think NAMM was the last time we got to get together, and as crazy and hectic as that is, it still was like, it's always great to see you. We get to give each other a hug and get some coffee, and I feel like it's like one of the biggest reunions in music. I get to see so many of my friends because we all usually tour at the same time. And I think one year they tried to move NAMM to like a different month, and quickly realized like, dude, it has to be when all the musicians are off the road.
Yeah, it has to be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, what's, you're missing, you're missing the point to some extent. The other thing is if it's already springtime everywhere else, the dealers don't want to come out. They want to come out here to go to Disneyland,
Yeah.
It's vacation. Get away from the cold.
When it's cold everywhere, go to the sun, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about that perspective, yeah.
But yeah, for a lot of our, I think, I don't know, the whole industry's kind of been in a state of flux. And actually, that's one of the things we're going to, talk about today. But we were talking about it again this morning in one of our product meetings. And just kind of, everything about music. Well, and I could argue that everything about music has been in a kind of a state of flux, pretty much since, if we go back to the days of Mozart, right? Mm-hmm. How did he survive? In the days of Beethoven and all of the great classical composers, they made a life out of having to find a wealthy patron who sponsored them, right?
Yeah, and then it was the sort of the explosion of what's now like, I don't know, in film they call it Hollywood, in music, what do you call it? Like it was the LA scene was really big. The jazz scene on the East Coast and ballet, classical, that's a good place to start. So sort of classical and jazz on the East Coast for the most part are supported the same way. It's like, it's people who really love the craft, have a lot of respect for it, and have enough to invest into the art, into the craft, to keep it going. And a lot of fundraisers on the East Coast. On the West Coast, sort of, we have this music industry, and I think the big issue is when you look at it from the outside, a lot of folks are like, hey, I have talent. I want to go start a career. I want to do this thing. Let's go. It's going to be amazing. I just got to get discovered. And that part is like really misleading.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, I'm gonna try to be nice about some of my explanations, but being in the industry and seeing a lot of things, it's like you pick your top pop artists, with the exception of say 10% of them. Let's just say that there's a 10% of unknown how they got there, really amazing stories that are really heartfelt.
Right.
And you can't help but just feel so happy for a person who made it and they're doing their thing.
Right.
90% of them are children or great friends of someone very influential.
Right.
And so you're like, whoa, this person like wrote a song in their bedroom and blew up and they're a sensation and it's amazing. Then later on, you unfortunately get to meet these people or meet their handlers, and you realize there are 50 ghostwriters and there's a whole office of a team that is marketing and dressing every aspect of who this person is,
right,
and shaping it. And nothing that we see is actually what it is.
Right.
But there are millions of people who will never see behind the curtain.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, as a consuming public, especially now, I mean, it's technological. So I'm piggybacking on Pat Quilter's idea. He has kind of a theory of what went on musically, kind of from the classical era to where we are today. And I like to call it kind of the old economy and the new economy to what you're saying. But, technology really drove the change, because if you go back to the days of the big band, right, in order to make enough sound to fill a dance hall,
you needed a big band. You had
to have a big band and a big drummer and a big horn section, and you had to have all that. Yeah. And then technology came along, speakers and amps. And
you could have a three-piece.
Yeah,
and
now
they could fill a whole arena.
You got it. And you could have a rock band, and you could, do all these things. And, the other coin of that is the distribution of, because music was, in essence, it wasn't a commodity. In order to get a record to the buying public, you had to press that. First you had to record it. So you needed a multi-million-dollar recording studio in those days. So somebody to the point would have to discover you before anyone would invest that kind of money in your music.
That was the world my dad was in. When he was in the record companies and doing things, it was like you needed someone to really take a chance, because they had to dump a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
It was all tape. There was no like press a button on the computer. It was like you're burning tape. You're burning all these different things to create something, and then you have to hope that it's marketable, that people will get excited about it and go out and buy actual physical records.
Yep. And it was highly competitive.
Oh man, it was highly competitive. Yeah. There's one guy that comes to mind that I think was just so genius what he and his team did, and I think it was I hope I don't say the wrong name. I guess you're wondering how I feel.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Came back to let you know. I had a thing for you.
It wasn't Cardwell, was it?
No.
That's
I don't know.
We got to Google comments.
It'll magically be underneath the thing later.
You're gonna laugh at me because I can't remember names when I need to remember the names. But he did the greatest thing in his marketing. I don't know if you know this, but my dad was in the record company at the time, or in the industry at the time, and his team made a decision to market a silhouette of him.
Oh, interesting.
And everybody was like, okay, but like he's not a bad looking guy. He's like, no, we're gonna use his silhouette. And the funny thing about how the music industry was then, like soul music was black.
Right.
And he wasn't black.
Right.
So they sold his silhouette. And the funniest thing happened when he went out to do his first sold out concert. At the front row, everyone was all black, and he came out and the lights came up and they all were like, oh my. I thought that was the greatest thing. It was just like, yo, man, art is art. And like, if your heart's in it and you're loving it already, why are you going to change your perspective of it or your opinion of it just because he isn't black? And I just thought there's a wake up, because we don't realize that we're like sort of following all these narratives of what to enjoy, how to enjoy it, and how to interpret it.
Yeah, what I can and can't like.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like, where are we getting these ideas from it, right? And all that goes to say is like, where the music industry sort of transitioned from that, you need these sort of icons or large companies to invest in you, to actually have enough money to go in a studio, turn it on, press the records, do all this stuff. It rapidly changed with the intro of the computer.
Mm-hmm.
I remember growing up, like I had all my dad's backup computer and broken keyboards were in my bedroom when I was like 9, and I was able to run a MIDI studio. That was me. I was that nerd kid. Yeah, I was that kid. I didn't really go out and play and a lot of things. I just fell in love with it. But I realized years and years later, that was the change of it all.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, and given a lot of the technology wasn't there yet, you really struggle with recording actual audio in your bedroom at that point. But it quickly transitioned with like the intro of how Macintosh computers exploded to where we could get this mic as the SM7B or something that was precursor to it, and I could record in my room, mix it on my laptop, get it mastered or whatever, bring the volume up, and I could just put it out.
Right.
And you realized people actually didn't care if it was in a $30,000 studio or someone's apartment.
Yep.
If it felt good.
And that happened
good,
fast.
Very
fast. Within 5 years, it was a drastic change.
Yeah. You know? And thankfully, the technology at that same time, well, I say thankfully for me, not thankfully for the industry, but thankfully for me, the same time, industry was exploding into this world of burnable CDs.
Right.
So then we could write something in my room. I could put it on a CD. We can go and do a concert. And if you liked what you heard, you could right away take it home with you.
Right.
And it was like a haven for creative artists who wanted to stay independent, because all of a sudden, like, I could sell CDs for $5, $10, $20. And if you wanted to support this band and keep doing what they're doing, you just buy a CD. You win, we win, and it's just direct. And then there was this little noise over here that kept happening. It was like Napster, LimeWire, iTunes, and Spotify. Nobody cared.
Right.
Like we were like, the big guys are afraid of that. It's not going to hit us,
Metallica was all mad about it.
Yeah, we're just like, well, those big guys up there, we're barely making anything anyway. And then I'm fast forwarding here so quick, but like a few years before, I think it was 2017.
Right.
Not actually 2018 was the point where we really started to feel it. Cars and new computers no longer had CD players.
Yep.
And we were like, uh-oh.
Well, and the technological shift too, because you had, remember, the $1 million studios to record with, but then it had to be pressed, had to be put on the back of a truck. And when it arrived at the Tower Records, that doesn't even exist anymore. When it arrived there, then you had to buy it. Otherwise, they'd want to buy it. They want the record company to buy it back. Yeah. So all that transportation is part of, there was a value chain that was occurring in the whole industry.
Everything.
And that went to
zero.
It was a cascade. Well, I'd say cascade. It was, it was destruction, basically.
Yeah, it was like somebody hit the bottom of the Legos and the tower collapsed.
Yeah.
That was it. Because it was like, and what we think about in the industry, what's happening at the same time as that is like a lot of artists are touring. And the concept or the idea of what touring is and was completely distorted in the minds of artists. So there's a lot of young artists who may be going to watch this, or people who are getting in the industry and thinking like, where am I supposed to make money? Like, how am I supposed to navigate all this? And a lot of it was like, I was talking to a friend about this, and I couldn't pinpoint the day of when the cutoff was, but mega stars, like stars with a strong, big following, bigger than life rock star persona that's celebrated across the world. And there is a cutoff where there's no more after that.
Right. That's what I call the old economy of music.
Exactly. And people were like, well, that was this or that. I was like, no, slow down and actually think about it. They sold millions of records.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there was no more records.
Right.
And what happened?
But everyone already knew them.
Yes, but the other thing was, with the sell of that record, ended up the companies would want to pump more money in it to move more records, and so you had to have this person's persona everywhere, in everything, everywhere you went. Now we have like what I call like the king of the singles. Like it's like everyone's just put out a single and do a thing, and when they blow up with all that, they sell other things. They're not selling records. It's like this person is selling what's that sports betting thing you see on all the commercials, or you see Doritos, and it's
music
like
selling Doritos.
yeah. You see this, like, all these people doing it more of a persona approach, and what it does is I feel like it sends a lot of artists down a spiral of like, okay, where do I exist in this? How do I exist? Which is I'm kind of translating to, like, not for everyone, but how we navigate all of this. And it's been a journey. There's ups and downs. There's times where we had a sold out concert. You walk outside and it's like, dude, that was amazing. Check my bank account and we've got $20 left in it. And it's like, okay, how are we going to get to the next venue and all this stuff? But it's like, I guess one of the most beautiful things and one of the scariest things we've done is remain independent.
Right.
There's a couple of times where I started to work with management, and if these guys see this, I love them. There's no bad blood. They understand a lot of it, but it was like trying to see, when you partner with someone, you have to partner with someone who maybe sees where the industry is going, rather than trying to figure out where it is.
Right.
And also figure out, like, who you are and what you're trying to exist, where you're trying to exist in all this.
Yeah.
I say that to say,
because right now we're going through even more transition. So finding exactly what that passion is and who you are. I caught Ron's concert last night, and one of the songs, it was kind of about, being real with yourself, basically, with who you are. And it struck me because it's so easy to, in an attempt to kind of be somebody, we can find ourselves in a position where musically speaking, but even personally speaking, where we've become a fraud to ourselves.
Yeah.
And that temptation is pervasive, and I think as an artist that has to be.
And as an artist, there's so much pressure. We recently, I think 2.5 years ago, we had moved to Nashville, and I can't say enough beautiful things about the people we met there, our neighbors, the musicians, the artists. Right. But the pressure is ugly.
Yeah,
it's so sad. Everyone you're sort of pressured. You're accepted to be whoever you want to be, do what you want to do, but you're pressured that if you're not this, you're not what we're looking for.
Right.
So all the artists I've met there, that, if you ask, like, what style do you play? Well, what do you want? Who do you want me to be?
Right.
And, like, I don't know if they would see it in my face right away, but that to me was heartbreaking to hear.
Right.
If I asked you, Chris, who are you? Like, what do you do? You're like, well, who do you want me to be? Like, what do you want? What do you want me to do?
I'm a chameleon.
I'll do that. And it's like, it's so much pressure, and everyone's after a publishing deal. I heard it so many times, and
that must be where the money's at.
Yes, but it's also where the golden handcuffs are, because what a lot of folks don't know, my late friend Milan Bertosa, amazing engineer, producer, and friend, he sat me down one day because I had this really exciting contract I was about to sign, and it was a publishing deal. These guys had seen us at a concert on tour with another artist and loved what we did, and they actually followed me around for four dates on that tour.
Wow.
Wanted me to sign this deal. It was going to change my life. And I said, well, I really don't know who to call on this. And I called Milan and asked him if he would look it over with me. He said, well, I don't even need to look over. I'm just going to tell you a couple of things I need you to look for. I said, okay. He said, I need you to look for recoupable advance. And I said, well, they're going to give me an advance of X, And he was like, yeah, it's a recoupable advance. So I want you to, every time you see the word advance or recoupable advance, I want you to change that word in your mind to the word loan.
That's exactly right.
And everybody's used to, if you take out a loan, there's like, I don't know, man, like 7% interest versus like bad credit card things are like 20-something percent interest, right? And he said, I want you to look at this loan as a 90% interest. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. He's like, well, how much of your publishing is going to belong to you after this deal? I'm going to get, 10 to 12%, depending on what's going on. So you're going to sell your loan for $20,000 to $200,000 loan for $20,000 to $200,000 loan. You're going to sell your farm, and you're going to be allowed to eat 10% of the fruit that's grown there.
Yeah.
And you're going to get 10% of that fruit that's grown there after you've paid back the $20,000 to $200,000 back from your 10% before you see the first of your 10%.
Yeah.
And him explaining it to me in that term made me feel sick. Because I'm like, dude, but they're not speaking that way. But, dude, they're taking me to the car wash. Like,
oh, yeah.
Dude. And I'm like, well, what if I go back? It's like, I don't want you to sign anything unless there's no equitable advance. They're just outright paying you a bonus. Or they're buying your family a home.
And was it like a 360 thing where like everything?
Oh, yeah. So if I went in debt and I couldn't continue to do music because I was making no money and I decided to go get a job at a coffee shop, they would technically, legally be entitled to a percentage of my paycheck.
Okay. If you're getting into music, listen to this.
Listen to it. You won't sound cool for asking these questions, but ask these questions. Like, you got to make sure that you're in it to make good decisions, and don't be afraid to walk away. Don't be afraid to say no. And the interesting thing about that is it actually increases your power in negotiation.
Right.
Just saying like, no, that won't work for me, or thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Or I'm really glad you enjoy what we're building here.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of community, man. It's so beautiful. If you have a friend who's a visual artist and you're doing music, hire them to do your artwork.
Yeah.
And if you can't afford to pay them outright to create a painting for your artwork, just say like, hey, I'll give you 50% of everything that we sell, like t-shirts, posters, everything that's featuring your artwork. And you're both going to make more than your money's worth.
Right.
So build together. A lot of really iconic relationships of people that we see, you're like, if I just meet this person, my life could be changed, and the networking. But we overlook a lot of those networks are 30, 40 years old.
Right.
A lot of these people, they met when no one cared who they were.
Yep.
Like Foo Fighters in a garage making noise and before they were even Foo Fighters and doing stuff. Then next thing you know, they start blowing up and everybody wants to just meet them. It's like, oh, dude, if I played in the band, I'd be someone. It's like, no, man. Don't be afraid to lift up your neighbor, do something in your community, and build that together.
Yeah, you're good about that, actually. I got to say, I got to give you a lot of credit there because,
dude, I try.
No, there's a lot of artists, and and I'm not trying to puff your head up, but there's a lot of artists who try so hard to self-promote that is the only thing they do, and it's actually almost painful when and I'm not I don't even have to.
But I see that at a desperation, and there definitely was the temptation for us to go down that route really heavily. We actually were encouraged to go down that route very heavily because it's like, who can speak up for you better than you? Like, who can look out for you better than you? Who can spend your money who can budget your money better than you? So you've got to go and you've got to get yours, and then you can take care of everyone else. But do what you got to do to get yours. And it's really interesting, like, we mentioned being like in California right now and like one of the most openly inclusive environments and culturally about speaking and everything, but you get in traffic, nobody's going to let you merge.
Yeah.
So saying it versus implementing it is two different things.
You're not kidding.
So what
California is so easy to pick on.
Dude, people don't know. I was actually born in Burbank. Yeah. So my parents moved to Hawaii when I was like 3 or 4, and I grew up there. But it's like I just picked it because we're here. But yeah, like.
Well, it's a lot of the, I live here. A lot of the stereotypes are true. And that's part of the, it's, even if you don't want to be that way, there's days. I'm looking at your red Honda Civic this morning, but no, there's days.
Dude, you know what I do though? Exactly. I just sit in the car. I never yell at anybody, and I'm not like a sit on the horn person. I'll toot if you miss the green light, and I'll do something like that. But most of the time, I'll just sit in the car and I'll narrate.
Yeah.
I'll be like, that person just thought, whoop-de-doo, I'm going to get in that left lane and not indicate, and then I'm going to slow down, and then I look whoever my passenger is, and they're just looking at me like. I'll just go down the rabbit hole. And
I started a while back going, YOLO!
Yeah, you only live once. Yeah. Dude, it's...
Might as well take your time.
Yeah, you might as well take your time. Yeah, but it's really interesting because I feel like it's great because, like, don't be afraid to just say hello to people. Like, and just have conversations.
Include them in what you're doing. I mean, as I was saying, that's one of the beautiful things that I've seen again and again. If you go to a Ron Artis concert, odds are good it's going to be him and one or two other or three other artists. And, you know, so it's not a game of stealing. It's like, it's you know, 1 + 1 does not mean there's less for everybody.
No,
it's a different attitude.
Sometimes 1 + 1 is 10, man. Like you bring one friend in that you've heard and you think like, man, these people have never heard of them. I can't wait to see what they do if they hear him or hear her sing or hear, like, we've done a couple things like that. And even last night when we just did the show at Dick Church's, I had my friend Saxon Weiss came and sat in.
Yeah.
I love that kid, man. He is immensely talented, but what really strikes me is his amount of humility.
Yeah.
He's such just an amazing person. And so I was just like, man, I can't wait for them to hear what he's going to do on it. So like, and which I've learned is really like, you know, counterculture as far as like lead guitarist vibes and lead singer vibes. It's like, you know, some adapt the thing of like, this is my moment, like witness me. But I kind of like, man, when are we going to live in this time again where Saxon's down the street 20 minutes and,
right,
you know, Sam's just over in Portland and he could fly in, and like we romanticized the 60s, like when Dylan and everybody was just around.
Right.
And romanticize the 70s and everything. It's like, dude, don't overlook the amazing beauty that's right now. Like we got Alan Stone.
Right.
Dude, like incredible. Derek Trucks is out playing, Eric Gales. There's so many artists right now that just blow my mind. And it's like, any chance I get to turn a friend on or a new friend onto that person, I'm just like, dude, I can't wait to see what your face does when you hear this person for the first time. Like Paula
I remember the
Fuga.
first time I saw Eric Gales, holy moly.
Dude, man. I remember my drummer, Jared Manus, he's a good friend. He's out in Salt Lake, and I remember we were on stage at Hawaii Theater in Hawaii, in Honolulu, and Eric Gales closed his eyes and went into the solo, and I look over at Jared, and Jared is just bawling.
Oh, man.
It was beautiful.
I believe it.
Man, it was beautiful. In Hawaii, we say chicken skins, like goosebumps.
Yeah.
All of us were there, and he had just like shared his testimony, went into this song called Southpaw Serenade, and he just turned up. And all of us were just like, you couldn't contain it. All of us just like, wow, what a life, what a story.
Yeah.
And we almost lost him like multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's like we almost lost Eric. And just knowing all that, being that moment, hearing the story, going in that song, and the song was just good, so good.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I want everyone I know to know about this feeling.
Right.
It's like, I'm forever a fan and a student of music and the art. To me, it's like, music is a language. And it's like, I always ask people like, what do you want to say?
Yeah. It's
not this vehicle that gets you famous. It's not this thing that buys you a home. It's not this, it's not this thing where we all learn scales and we can play in harmony and be like, oh, look who can do it the fastest and the best and play the most scales and do them backwards, forward. And that's cool that you can do all those things. But, you know, what if I'm just in this conversation with you, just rattling off as many languages as I can remember? Like, what does that do for us?
Yeah.
Like, I prefer, like, surrounding myself with people who love to do the hard work of trying to say something, trying to communicate, trying to listen. Listen is a superpower. Like people who listen in the concert and play off of each other and respond. It's just gold, man. And when you go into that selfless place, I feel like the audience feels it, and it gives them permission to start to feel deep and think about things and ask themselves questions and face things we maybe pushed down. And that, man, it's just forever inspiring me. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't always that person.
Right.
I wasn't always that stop and take a breath and be aware of the moment. I was pretty much like every other teenage kid. I was like, I'm gonna be the baddest guitar player in the world, dude. I'm gonna practice my skills. I'm gonna go so fast. And one day I'm gonna clean it up for radio, but one day my dad was just like, you know, you arrogant there's no such thing.
Right.
He's like, if you feel like rocking out, what artists are you going to pump up on the radio? I was like, I don't know, Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, and Greg Malmsteen. It's like, if you're feeling really down and exhausted, coming off of a flu, and you're going to sit down and turn something on the radio, what are you going to put on? I was like, Jose Feliciano, John McLaughlin, and, you know, maybe little Bob Marley. It's like, well, if you're feeling really blue and in pain, you know, I was like, well, B.B. King, Gary Moore, George Benson. He's like, which one of them are the best? I was like, that broke my brain. That broke my brain.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's about expression. It's about a feeling. It's about saying something and hopefully inviting you enough to come along with them.
Yeah.
Like, Wes Montgomery makes me like dream. When I listen to him play, it's like it's a dream, man. The same thing with Keith Jarrett on jazz piano. Like, that guy, it's like no two songs. Ryoichi Sakamoto is a pianist, composer, and he did what is that show called? It's a film from way back. Sheltering Sky.
Right.
That whole soundtrack, or Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. All that music, it's like, it breaks the border of what is commercial music.
Right.
It's actually someone dares to invite you in a conversation.
Right.
And it's like, it's scary if you listen to it and you actually like, whoa, someone's trying to tell me something. I don't have to know who they are. I don't have to ever, you know, they could be passed on. But I put that on and you're inviting me to go somewhere with you.
Right.
And you're not just shouting at me. You're not just throwing something up, say like it, take it or leave it. No, you're entering that scary space of being personal.
Yeah.
Being dislikable if it's not for everyone, you know, but it's beautiful. And it's really rewarding to step into that space with friends and people who value that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely, I've seen my share of that in your shows. So yeah, this is not a lot of talk.
Oh, dude, it's.
And when you travel, I mean, that's the other thing that you know, it's quite the impressive thing, because there are people that will travel and, you know, go do shows here or go do shows there. Mm-hmm. But you know, as you had mentioned earlier, when you travel, what's the old proverb that you told me about? If you want to. If you want to go fast, travel alone. If you want to go far, travel together.
Yeah, that I found that quote. It was a film somewhere. Where I was on the road somewhere with my family, and it was not the easiest day or easiest week. And we were watching some film, and I saw that, and I was just like, wow, yeah, because anyone who's ever traveled alone, you know how easy it is to flow in your tempo. You find your tempo, you know your habits, you're on. And you can go or you can flow, something changes, you only got to move yourself and go. And I, despite what the popular opinions on that would be, I don't call that selfish at all.
Right.
It's like, that's where you are, that's what you're doing, that's how you're flowing. It's a choice.
Yeah.
And then, especially guys in high-stress jobs that are parents, or in general, just say a high-stress job, you know what it feels like to focus, and you know that explosive feeling that goes off in you when you get interrupted in thought. Yep. Or an expression or an execution of a thing. It's like totally being completely invaded. So I can imagine how I was, like, I had a regimen growing up. I would practice in the morning before the sun was up. That was my alone time. Right. I'm from a really big family, 11 kids. There's 11 of us and my parents, and very busy house. And in the morning, I could get 3 hours of just me. If I was up by 4, there was nobody doing anything except for my dad. He would get up and read a paper or something, and we would talk about music, but I would have my time. And then this guy falls in love against all plans in my life. Never thought that would ever happen. And then fall in love, then we have wonderful kids, and all of a sudden I'm focused on doing something, and I get the dat, or, you know, somebody hits somebody, they spill something, and I'm so gone. I'm like that movie Inception, or what it was called. Like I'm 2 dreams deep in this thing, and it's like wedged on this other thing, and then that song kicks in. I think it was Edith Piaf, her song was in the film, and it just keeps coming back. And all of a sudden that's coming on, then somebody all of a sudden scratches the record to Beastie Boys. And I'm like, what is going on? And my kids are in my face, and it's like, and that was an adaptation that I had to learn. And what really helped me, and I would love people to explore this, but I started learning that I have to accept their chaos as my own.
Yeah.
You know, accepting their chaos as my own, and to expand on that is like my kids, until they're old enough to go and do their thing, they're extensions of me. So I don't get up in the morning, get my coffee and stuff, and then get invaded by all these kids coming downstairs and messing stuff up. No, in the morning I need an extra 45 minutes to get my house in order because I spilled the Legos, because I spilled the milk, because understanding that, because I don't know where my socks are, but when it's time to go outside, because I had my favorite cotton gloves and went out to play in the snow and thought the mystery puddles in New York were going to be fun to wipe my hands in. And so then I got myself sick with the flu for 2 weeks after that. You know, it's like calculating that all that is an extension of who I am now. That's my life for the next 16 years or however.
Oh, but I'll warn you now, because you think, then it'll change. It will. I promise you, it's going to change.
Yeah.
And you'd give anything to go back.
Yeah.
it's
dude, there's a beauty. Like they
change you.
My wife accused me of picking a favorite now and then, but there's one of my kids who just comes up, and all they want is just like to lay their head on my stomach and just be in the moment, and everything melts away for them. And I'm just like, man, maybe one day it won't be me that you come to for that little hug and just dissipate everything. But I try to appreciate it. And how that goes into travel, it started out, I want to encourage people, like, don't think you got to jump into the ice bath right away. Like, we didn't start touring, traveling with 5 kids. We started just my wife and I in our band.
Right.
At the time it was a duo, me and my brother, and my wife would come with us, and I just thought, it's me just getting an extra ticket for my wife. And then we would learn how to navigate all those different things, how people viewed spouses in the industry. They was like, what's she doing here, or this or that, the kind of, and we learned how to navigate all that. And then we had our first baby, and then our first baby's coming on, and kids fly free till they're 2. So we didn't have to buy an extra ticket yet. And then I realized you board early for free with a baby. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'll take that. That's amazing. And then we went doing all this stuff, and you get extra carry-ons. And then we started buying a ticket. Once they turned 2, then we had the next one, and on and on and on and on and on. And then you have a date of like 2 weeks of shows, Mondays and Tuesdays off, and you're going hard. You can't get sick. You can't, break regimen. You got to go. And you turn around and look, and you see your kid teething on the armrest in a plane.
Yep.
And I'm like, we gonna be sick in 2 days, because that baby's gonna have a fever, the runny nose, and they need you to hold them. You cannot just let your baby just struggle. So start calculating with that, and navigating the sleep. But I'll tell you, man, some of those days where you wake up the next morning after a concert, and it's been a beautiful, amazing night, and you wake up the next day, you just see your kid there, and you're like, remember when we did this? Remember when we got lost in this place? Remember we went to this place? And you're sharing all those memories are yours together.
Yeah.
You made all that together. It's not like the biggest thing that breaks families in the industry, well, one of the big things, there's a lot of things, but not the conscious bad decisions apart from those.
Right.
It's just the road can build 2 different lives.
Yep.
You have the spouse, husband or wife, that's at home, and they're holding down home base and building this whole thing community here that you're barely a part of.
Right.
And you're out here problem solving, dealing with all this, and receiving so many accolades, and you're in this whole other reality.
Yeah.
And then those 2 worlds clash for 2 weeks at a time, and then you're back. And you start feeling like it's more comfortable to be out there in what you know to be back here problem solving.
Right.
Because I'll go home and be like, yeah, everybody just told me how great I am. Then, I come back and you're telling me I didn't take out the trash, or, I don't know how to change a baby diaper. Like I built this whole other world and I wasn't a part of this.
Right.
Or my wife said, home dealing with all of these things and community, problem solving, all this stuff. And then she goes to go out with me and I was like, well, what do you mean you don't know where to get a pass? What do you mean you don't know how to do this? And, oh, you know who this person is? And I was like, why would that even matter, dude? Like, that stuff doesn't matter. That's not who's going to be crying at your funeral. That's not who's going to, when you break your hands, that's not who's going to be sitting there trying to put your life back together and looking in your heart. Like, you have an opportunity to value that person now, especially like in relationships, man. You picked each other. That person decided to spend their life with you. Like, there's, in the hierarchy of priorities, we got to ask ourselves a question. Why do we put one down there and the other one up there? Like, you got to ask yourself what brings real weight to these priorities.
And what's really important, you know?
What's really important?
When you're lying there and wondering if there's going to be a tomorrow one day. I just went through this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you now.
Yeah.
You want to stop and go hug all those people. You want to stop and but it's a ride you can't get off. So you're right when you say at the end of it all, what did really matter?
Yeah.
And
man. It's really, and it's really funny, man. Like, I was just in this one, I'm gonna leave names out of it, but I was at this one event and my family is like, 2 rooms away at this table, typical kids at a table. We got all the food all over the place. And I go to do something and I'm walking back from my event and I meet some friends who are there who I just met and they're there and it's like, yo, Ron, where you going? Oh, I'm going to get some food. I'm going to go eat. And the guy literally said to me, he's like, you sure you want to go over there and sit with all those kids and all that stuff? You want to sit with all these hot girls right here, man? Look at this table right here. I was like, so many things almost ran out of my mouth that I was going to say in that moment. And in that moment, all I could do was laugh. I was like, and I just laughed, and I just laughed, and I just walked over to my kid's table, picked my kid up, set him on my lap, and I'm just like, you don't even get it. But usually when someone is attacking you and attacking your way of life, like, the whole live and let live is easy to believe and say, but usually when someone crosses that line and they're like antagonizing you for deciding to live differently from them, it's usually because they haven't really made peace with the decisions they've made.
Right.
So then if someone's choosing different from me and I'm upset with you, it's because I'm not truly comfortable with what I'm doing.
Right.
And I can't begin to admit that to myself.
Right.
Like, I've got friends that, I'm Christian, my whole family's Christian, and I've got friends who are Muslim. And like, when my dad passed away, he was my neighbor and he sat with me for hours on hours, helping me to kind of like grasp putting my life back together.
Right.
Like, being the oldest son of 11 kids and your parents been married for 30 years and your dad has a heart attack overnight.
Right.
And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to fix this? Like, how am I supposed to step into a leadership role and solve all of this when I'm still one of the brothers? Like, anybody who's got brothers knows, like, you can't just all of a sudden be like, do as I say, bro. This is how it's rolling now.
Right.
Yo, I'm big dog. No, doesn't work.
No.
I tried it. No, it's like, you have to really, it was a really tough time. And he would sit there for hours on hours. And I remember one day we were having coffee and he just laughed. And I was like, what? He says, the news says we're supposed to hate each other. And I was like, yeah. It says we're supposed to be like at each other's throat, And I've got friends who are agnostic, and the same thing. It's like, they have their reasons for doubt, and they ask me and press me on things, and I'll laugh, and we're joust and talk about things. And at the end of the day, we both agree on the best that we can be on this planet is of service to others.
Yeah.
That's the best we can be. Like, if I become a billionaire, so what, man? Like, yeah, cool, I can get everything. I can buy this, I can buy that, I can buy this. But if that was the end-all and solution to all of our problems, then depressed millionaires and billionaires would not exist. That they wouldn't exist.
Right.
But like, the amount of people that I've met that have so much money but feel utterly alone is staggering. I'm not gonna lie, it would help to have more money on some of the things we're dealing with, but it's a tool. It's not the end all.
It's not what you're made of.
Yeah, and we're not made of that. And the thing is too, it's like, where should that be in your priority list? Everyone should ask themselves, like, who's building your priority list for you?
Right.
Are you doing it, or are you just not doing it? You're just letting your circumstances do it for you.
Right.
Oh, I'm getting late on rent, so I need that. All right, shift it, turn it upside down. Money's top of the list. Oh, I'm hungry. All right, I got it. Money's still there. Food's right afterwards. Oh, I really like the way she looks. Okay, now you're up there and you start, in order to keep her attention, I think I need money. All right, then you're just like not even thinking about it and just like it's all changing. But if you sit with yourself, take a breath and actually figure out what is your priority list.
Right.
Like what really has value to you and is meaningful.
Right.
If I broke my hands tomorrow and lost my voice, what's important on that list? Who's important on that list?
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to to reevaluate that. And most of us, we never do that because we get caught in this illusion that there's no time. There's no time for me to sit on a tree and just like daydream and think and just like meander or frolicking in the woods, as they would say in the old films, right? Just
right.
like, I'm going to go for an afternoon stroll and just consider the decisions of life.
Right.
No, that is the one thing that you do have time for, but you're not doing it. It's the one thing you need.
Yep.
Because if you're not making your decisions, someone's making them for you. If you're not making your priority list, someone's making it for you.
Yeah, that's the illusion. Not choosing is not failing to choose.
Someone's choosing for you. Yeah, and someone's putting it there. Like it's like dude, you ask yourself the questions. I'm not at all saying that the questions and answers are going to be easy. I'm not saying that lifestyle changes are going to be easy. I'm sometimes saying the opposite.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard to look at it, make a priority, and then act on those thoughts.
Right.
This is what's going to be important to me. This is what I need to do.
Yeah. And I mean, for a lot of people, I think the dilemma is, I can say it for myself for sure, is understanding what those priorities are. Mm-hmm. If you haven't taken the time to really, as you say, sit down, get in your thoughts for a minute. And the world today is so filled with, scroll this and, swipe up, swipe down, swipe left, swipe right.
Dude, I'm guilty. I'm not superhuman, man. I'm not impervious. I'll open up my phone and I'm like, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to post something on Instagram to update people about the show. There's something to change or whatever. And I'll open it up and I'll be like, hey, what was I going to do? 30 minutes later, I'm like, why did I open the app? What was I going to do? First thing I saw was like something cool happening because I love cinema stuff, camera stuff. So I'll be like, oh, this lens does that. Oh man, what focus follow system did they use? All right, cool. Why did they pick that glass over that one? Then I'm A-Bing something. I'm looking at it, I'm gone, and I was like, what was it gonna do? I was gonna post that thing. And then there goes the alarm because it's time to load out of the Airbnb or whatever, and we got to go somewhere because we got a 5-hour drive. And then when I'm driving, I can't use my phone to post it. Then I'm like, remember, you got to post when you get to the house. And then I'll like get to the house, load everything in, get in there, and I'll be like, oh man, I didn't play chess today. Then I get on my chess app, and I was like, I could be on there. I love chess.
I didn't know you were a chess player.
I love chess, man.
Oh, we have to play sometime.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But it's like, setting your priorities, and because man, you're driving. You're the captain of the ship that is your life.
Right.
And it's like you get to choose what you're going to prioritize, what's important to you, how you respond to things.
I mean, that's why I had asked you this a while back, but the answer was so beautiful that I said, when do you get time to make new music? How do you do that?
Dude, it's so interesting. And this is what I want to do. I want to shatter the myth that songwriting is difficult. It's difficult if we keep overthinking it.
Yeah.
And I get it. For some, there's a plethora of ways to write songs, right? And I don't want to mitigate that. I got sunglasses inside. So, all right, something as simple as that, right? Sunglasses inside. It's a thought. We can laugh about it. We can talk about it for a minute, and then I can forget we ever did it, and I can sit it down and move on.
Right.
Or we can dig into something like that as an example, like sunglasses on my head inside, and just think like, oh, I had sunglasses on my head because I got from the car, walked inside, and forgot where they are. You can just go with it. And I have this analogy that I use them when we're doing workshops on songwriting, and some people are ready for this analogy, some are not. But I was in the delivery room when all 5 of our kids were born.
Right.
And I remember there's so many thoughts through your head. There's so many things going on. It's intense. And I just remember the one thing that did not cross my mind. Is this kid gonna graduate Harvard? Is this kid gonna be a star? Is this kid, gonna cure cancer? Is this kid gonna get a Nobel Peace Prize? Is this kid gonna get a lot of accolades and be famous? Are they gonna be president? None of those things. It's let the baby be born. I'm gonna love on them. I'm gonna give them a chance. We're here for you. Let the baby be born. So when you're writing a song, you're writing a book, you're writing poetry, you're making a painting, let the baby be born. Don't get caught in, is this gonna win a Grammy? Is this gonna hit the charts?
I agree.
Is this gonna fill the stadium? Let the baby be born. Take all of that external artificial pressure that you're putting on here that doesn't even exist without the baby being born. Let the song, let the art be born. It's telling you who it is, sometimes screaming at you who it is. Listen to it. Just follow it. You're going to see it. You don't have to overthink it. And just get the thought out. The crazy thing about inspiration, though, it's like it doesn't belong to us. It just, somebody told me the other day, it's like, don't chase inspiration, like create or chase the environment in which it's welcome. Like inspiration is welcome. Like, so I thought that was cool to hear, but for me, it's like I get inspired in some of the most awkward times when I'm supposed to be doing something else. Like then we're talking, and then I felt the glasses on my head, and my head wants to go, oh, this song about glasses, But like I remember sitting on the sofa with the song "We're Not Machines," and just thinking when that started to come together, I was like, don't mute the reminders that we're not machines. And I thought that's kind of cool. And it just kind of developed a little bit. And I ended up having a conversation about it with my wife. And I was just thinking like, yeah, it's like an alarm. I got all these reminders in here and I just mute them and don't respond to them. But the same things with the body. We have all these reminders that we're human beings. I'm tired, so I get coffee. I'm exhausted. So... get medication. I got a headache, so I get medication, or I do this or I do that. It's like you're tired, your body's telling you drink some water and go to sleep. You got a headache, you need to remove some of the stress.
Right.
And it's like, but we mute those reminders. And I
keep ignoring them.
Dude, me too. Like it's tough. So it's like that's what inspired that. It's like, man. But I could have easily overthought it, and it could have just easily been what I call sofa talk. Like you just sit down on a couch or a sofa with a friend, and you're just talking and just chewing it up or whatever. And then the moment's gone. You get up, oh, let's go back, let's do something. And all that inspiring moments, all that beauty right there, you just let it go. You just toss it out.
Yeah. It's there. It's all around. I agree.
Yeah.
But it's part of the game is as you're saying, you have to let it go.
Yeah, let it keep going. Let it be born, let it grow, follow it, value it, and it'll blow your mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I love the journey. I love creating and following the music. And what I love more than that is being able to share it with people and hear what it means to them. Because I'll have this idea of what I think the song means, what it's about. But then to hear someone have their analogy of what it means to them and what it helped them get through, I found that I wasn't ready for. It's beautiful, but some stories and some things people have shared with us, it's just been so moving that it was like overwhelming. So I'm really grateful to, be a small part of people's lives, which is really cool.
Oh yeah. It's my favorite song on the last album, Don't Waste the Gift of Time. So you do have to, I'll put it in a frame here or something. Check out We Are Not Machines. It's available. Yeah. Where can we find it?
On all the streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, all those places you can find it and listen to it. And I'm really happy that you like Gift of Time. I think I told you the story about that song. So
that actually made it better.
Yeah. So I wrote everything on the album, and my wife had a piece of poetry that she shared with me about the gift of time. And I was like, man, this is so beautiful. It should be a song. And that's the first official co-write that my wife's ever done. Like she wrote that and I just added the music and everything. And
Yeah.
I think it's such a profound thought and idea that to not just, why do we always freely spend the one thing we never get more of? And that's the wonderful gift of time.
Yeah. And it's that I've tragically felt that truth. That's why it hit so hard for me. Because losing your parents, as you know.
Lost my dad, my grandma. I nearly lost my uncle 3 days ago. That was a very close call. So it kind of really just brought a lot of the things back to the forefront of my mind. My Uncle Vernon, I've known him my whole life, dude. He taught me my first kung fu moves. And it's really, life is very fragile.
It's precious. You don't get, you don't. There comes a day you don't get to go back and do it anymore. And maybe that was kind of the hardest hitting thing for me is I was reminded of that in that song. So go out and hug the people you love today. Just go do it.
Yeah.
Go back and forgive the people that have done you wrong. Go back and
even if they think you're weird for doing it.
Even if they think you're weird for doing it,
even better.
You win.
Yeah, it's even better, man.
What did they say is harboring anger or resentment is like drinking poison and expecting it to make the other person sick.
Yeah, I've heard that, and it's very true.
So, go hug everybody today. In fact, after I heard that song the first time, I literally I didn't do it. I should have. I almost went downstairs and gave Uncle Pat a hug.
Yeah. He would have been like, what's going on? Are you okay? I love Pat, man.
Yeah, it's just, it was such a reminder of, just treasure the people because, they are, the things that make this life kind of worth living. And you're good at that, buddy.
Some days. I got to say my friend, I've got some friends that are like great friend status, like I watch how they are in their friendships, and I just like, dude, I wish I was more like you. Yeah. I focus a lot. Like I go in like hyper focus spaces in my mind, and I'll sometimes go in there for 2 weeks, man. Like I'll be chasing something, I'll be creating something, whatever, and I'm gone for like 2 weeks. Like I won't think to call people or anything, and I got a friend named Ernie Ecarella. You know Ernie.
Ernie!
He's the man. I think I told him one day on the phone, I said, man, I think you're like observing you and your friendships and everything. I said, I think you're like one of the greatest friends that a person could have.
Yeah.
Like he's got friends from like his childhood. I just think it's just, and when he sits down to have conversations with people, it's deep. There's not a filter there. I just think it's so admirable, man. So amazing, so beautiful. And it's just like, I feel like everyone has their group of gifts in this lifetime. And I think definitely like being an awesome friend is definitely way up on the list for Ernie.
Oh, yeah. He went through the whole, like I've been through some health problems in the last year. He went through it with me because he would constantly text. And so, I love Ernie.
Yeah, man.
I still have to go to, I have to head over to Hawaii and we're supposed to go do a Kanakapila.
Have you been?
I've been to Hawaii a few times,
Have you been with Ernie yet?
No, but I have to.
Dude, you gotta. Yeah. It's great, man, because it's like, traveling, your like friend circle is so wide. Like we've got friends on multiple continents and different cities, different states, and you don't really physically see everyone all the time.
Right.
But it's interesting because you see such a common thread across so many different cultures and so many different demographics of things that actually matter and improve the way of life for each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just being reminded you're not invisible. The friend just calls you up randomly all the time. Yep. And I just think that's... Man,
I got through that for a year just from that. From, you know, so many of my close friends and whatnot. My family, of course, but my friends just surprised me, actually.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you can't lift yourself up, you're amazed, to discover all the people willing to do it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna get all weepy here.
Hey, weepy's good. That's like with the opening song on the album, like Pick Me Up.
Yep.
And that was like, I'm that guy that grew up like I didn't like asking for help. I would go after everything. I was like, I was talking to some friends and I was like, God gave me these gifts. He gave me a good mind. Gave me some strength. Gave me some gifts, good music, and it was one day I had to come hardcore face to face with the fact that I was leaning on the gifts rather than the gift giver. Leaning on the gifts more than I was leaning on the gift giver. Like, I went through a hernia, I went through another operation, and ended up having this stuff with my heart rate dropping, not sleeping enough, just going. And I had face-to-face where it's like, you got to take your own advice.
Yep.
And then this crazy guy I would talk to on the phone, he would tell me to prioritize him. You know, he works over at Quilter.
Well,
he was like, you know, prioritize your rest, prioritize your, you know, your health, and you know, I kind of tried to take it to heart, and I was like, you know, if I don't take care of myself and I die early, my wife's gonna kill me.
Right, me too.
Yeah. I know, it's beautiful, man. It's just like trying to prioritize on stuff, but.
Well, I could sit and talk all day. I
was going to try to remember to talk more music. But
speaking of traveling, I think we've got to get you out of here before too long because we don't want to miss the plane.
I'm supposed to drop off a vehicle in 3 minutes, 4 p.m. And then...
So, with that said, we'll guys catch you live on the next Q show.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Yeah.
This is so amazing.